Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
All right, here we go. Plot speculation. All right. Movie starts with San Francisco flashback. We see a nice new scene of the Muto and Godzilla fighting. Within the scene, we see the Russell family trying to escape back, and as the son is trying to make his way towards his family, rubble and a building collapses on top of his son. His son is dead. Right after that scene, we kind of fade, and we come back to modern day, and we see Mark Russell getting up, kind of sweaty. You know, they try to makes it look like he was having a dream, but they don't really imply that it was a dream. Perhaps he was in thought. Perhaps he was reflecting. So he's a little sweaty. He gets up. He's getting ready for work. As he's heading to work, and I'm going to guess that he's just, we know story-wise, I think, that he was, did he? Well, I don't know. But anyway, let's just say he's going to work. I'm not sure at this point where he would be working. Let's say he's a professor. Let's say he's a teacher at a college. So he's going to work, and he calls Emma Russell, and he's discussing with her when he's going to see Madison and stuff like that. They get into a little quabble because she's still working for Monarch. He's not cool with that. They split up, as we all speculate at the moment, because of the death of his son. We can all deduce this in the trailer when we see the picture frame of the son, who was not in the movie, but only the picture. And we also saw the flashback of what everybody believes to be San Francisco. That's a popular consensus. So they get into a little spat. But, you know, at the end of it, nothing comes of it. There's no concrete time frame when he's going to get to see his daughter. Shift scenes over to Emma and Madison Russell at a Monarch facility, as Emma has brought Madison with her to the facility to see the cocoon, which they discovered in China. So they're in China. And like we see in the trailer, we see them kind of slowly heading towards the cocoon as the cocoon starts to pulsate, and Mothra comes out, freaks out a little bit, shoots a little webbing all over the place, and then finally, for the first time, Emma Russell breaks out the device that shoots the frequency, which we've seen in the trailer, to calm Mothra. Calm down, Mothra. Wouldn't it be funny if that she's using the device, it gives off a little tune that sounds like the Mothra song? That'd be cool. All right, so Mothra calms down, and Madison, being in awe of the creature, heads closer to try and touch her, as we see in the trailer. And Emma is very reluctant to let her do that and starts to pull her back. At this point, we hear commotion, some explosions in the far distance, and here comes the eco-terrorist group. And because of that, they lose focus on keeping Mothra calm. Mothra takes off and starts wrecking the place and takes off. And the eco-terrorists come in, they grab the device, they take Emma, I gotta remember these names. They take Emma Russell and Madison, they take the device. They want to go motherfucking don't know. Ethan Bradshaw would love to see Batra and Megaguirus. Oh, yep, that'd be great. So they take Madison, they take Emma, they take off, and at this point, if I'm looking at the trailer, they are going to. Who would they go to free? It would have to be Rodan, I think. Yeah. So they head down. Now, I thought it was Mexico. Everybody's telling me it's not Mexico now. But I thought it was Mexico. But let's just say they're going to go free Rodan. I'm not 100% sure where. I know he's down there by Mexico. Some people are telling me it's not Mexico. So let's just say they go to the Gulf of Mexico, near down there, some area. They want to free Rodan. So they head down there. In between this, we cut to another scene. Ken Watanabe and Susan Graham have been informed that one of their facilities has been infiltrated, and they find out that Emma and her daughter have been taken by this group, in which they go and they contact Mark Russell, because, you know, you got to contact the family, let them know what's going on. And Mark, in his anger, because he's so mad at Monarch and he's upset at the whole situation, and he's worried about his daughter, so he goes to Ken Watanabe and, or I should just say, Dr. Serizawa and Dr. Graham, and he's like, you guys are going to help me get my family back because this is your fault, because you keep messing with these monsters, and they're blah, 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 so on and so forth. So he gets flown into the Monarch facility that is following Godzilla. And they're underwater. And they are studying him. They're keeping an eye on him. They followed him the whole 5 years since the San Francisco incident to keep track of him. And he has not necessarily been sleeping. He's been up. He's been chilling. Because there's nothing going on the surface, there's no reason for him to come up there. And he's been aware of these groups watching him. And he's aware now that something's kind of smelling fishy on the surface. So he makes his presence known. He wants them to know that he knows they're there. He knows they're there. So Mark Russell, I keep forgetting those names, Mark Russell, Dr. Serizawa, and Dr. Graham are ready to go and find their family. Go back to the other Monarch facility where Rodan is. The terrorists are there. They put the damn device down. They launch the device. They piss off Rodan. Rodan shoots out of the top of the volcano. In comes the G-Team. Because Dr. Serizawa and all the other Monarch employees have informed the G-Team that this terrorist group may be heading there, and they're motherfucking don't know. Atomic breath and gravity beam struggle would be awesome. Yes, it would be. Yes, it would. We'll talk about that shortly. So they gave the G-Team notification and the military notification that there is a chance that this terrorist group may be heading down there to free the next monster, which is Rodan. So that big blue jet is what everybody's calling a Super X. Everybody's thinking it might be a nice spiritual successor to the Super X. Turns out to be this big old jet, this big plane that can actually launch planes from it. And here we go. They fly in. There's Rodan. Rodan sees them. They see Rodan. The jets take off. And now here we go. Rodan's going at it with the military in the air over this big country. And as Rodan is flying, he's ripping shit up. This triggers Godzilla. And now, back at the other Monarch underwater facility, Godzilla is ready to make his move. He surfaces, and he is beelining it towards Rodan's location. Now, back to the facility where Rodan was. The terrorist group have succeeded at what they want to do, and now they're going to make their way to Antarctica. Yes, Antarctica. Now, in this process, Millie Bobby Brown's character is beginning to question what's going on. She's not 100% convinced. She believes right now that the terrorist group is the one, or are the ones, doing this. She does not blame her mother. She still sees these kaiju as wonderful creatures. So they're heading to Antarctica. Godzilla's heading down to Rodan. And, where was I? I got lost. Okay. And now that Godzilla's making his move, Mark Russell, Serizawa, and Graham decide to take a submarine now to follow Godzilla's movements because they believe Godzilla's going down there anyway. They want to stay in hot pursuit. The military is still struggling with Rodan as he starts making his moves. Now we get to Antarctica. Okay, we get to Antarctica. And the terrorist organization there, I was talking about Madison Russell. That's what I was talking about. Now, guys, just to let you know, I'm obviously not taking time frames into account here. I'm sure in the movie there will be good, if it was to turn out this way, there will be explanations and certain little details happening in between to give our characters and stuff time to travel. I'm skipping all that just so you know. I'm getting to try and get to the meat and potatoes and to the gist of everything. So Madison does not blame her mother at this point. She's viewing this as exactly as it's happening, is the fact that she's being kidnapped. She has no idea. We've met Charles Dance at this point. And so Madison still thinks the kaiju are good. So she is enthralled when she gets to Antarctica, and she sees this big ice cap with a huge monster that seems to be frozen inside. And what she doesn't see is her mom sitting in the corner what is she doing? Is it her? As she starts tapping the buttons and starts hitting a sequence, and she realizes it's her mother that's been freeing these monsters. Is she with these people? So she frees King Ghidorah. So anyway, he took me out of my groove. See what I mean? So she notices that, and she frees Ghidorah. It causes a big mess. The terrorists are getting out of there. Now, those dead bodies you see in the trailer that I point out in the trailer breakdown, those are the bodies killed by the terrorist group as they were making their way into that facility. So by the time the G-Force get to Antarctica, during that time is when Emma Russell reveals the fact that she is part of the organization. She makes her little announcement. We are infectious humans. We suck. Everything about us is horrible. SJW power for life. And, you guys are just crappy people. Okay. At that point, the G-Force makes it to Antarctica. By that time, the terrorists have taken off. And while the terrorists are doing their thing, the G-Force comes in, checks the facility. At this point, Ghidorah has already made air, and he's heading towards where the other two kaiju are, because they have this frequency that we know about, and there are two kaiju in very close vicinity of each other. Ghidorah makes his way there, and that is when we have this major clash. Godzilla and Rodan are fighting, and boom, and clash, and bam, and boom, bam, and picture it the way you want to picture it. Rodan and Godzilla are fighting. Ghidorah swoops in and goes for Godzilla first, because he is the bigger of the two. He is the baddest of the two. And he just beats the ever-loving shit out of Godzilla. Knocks him out. Beats his ass. Godzilla is barely... Rodan takes off. Rodan's gone. He's like, fuck this. I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm out. Ghidorah is in pursuit of Rodan. In my story, goddammit. Ghidorah is going after Rodan. Rodan's flying north. Rodan is following the frequency. The frequencies are driving these monsters kind of a little bit out of caboodle, in particular Rodan. So Ghidorah is chasing Rodan. Godzilla is hurt and hurting. I didn't even get to Mothra yet. But we'll get back to that. I haven't forgotten. We'll get back to that. So Godzilla gets back to the sea. He's hurt. He goes back to his spot. You know what I mean? Or that temple, whether that temple is... still up in question. Some people are saying it's Godzilla's temple. Some people are saying it's Rodan's temple. I'm just going to call it a temple. He goes back to the temple, or a temple. It could be Rodan, since he's right there. Cut there. Now we move to another makeshift Monarch base that has been built. There has been a Monarch team that has been specifically aimed at following where Mothra went. They follow Mothra. And the larva did not make it past a certain point, and went into a second stage of, for lack of a better term, cocooning. So in a waterfall, Monarch sets up a makeshift base, and they're waiting. They're studying it and all this, and pretty soon, short thereafter, Mothra is born, full wings, looking beautiful, and takes off. Shifting back to the terrorists who have now made it back to land. They've made it back to the States. And they're discussing their next plan. In the meantime, now that Madison is aware that her mother is the one that woke up Ghidorah, and now she's seeing Ghidorah is all over the news, this storm, this crazy storm, destroying everything, Madison then, in a heroic effort, takes the machine, steals the machine from her mother, and she's trying to work the device, and she's making matters worse, and she's caught. The terrorist team noticed this. Her mother noticed this. And she's desperate to get the hell out of there. So she hightails it. And she heads for her home, which is in Boston, Massachusetts. She's going to go home. She's going to know where she knows, she's familiar with. She knows where to hide. Madison, wherever they might land, wherever they make landfall. But from that point, she's headed back home. She's been in contact with her father. And her father said, go home and I'll meet you there. And now, we'll work. So Madison heads to Boston. Mark heads to Boston. The terrorist group and Emma head to Boston because they're chasing her for the device. They want the device. So Madison heads to Boston. We're all heading to Boston. Rodan is flying up. He stops in Washington, decides to start wrecking shit. Ghidorah is in quick pursuit. And we go back to, I'm kind of making things a little bit too far forward, but I'll start meshing it up here. Then we shoot back to Godzilla, who is presumably dying. They don't feel that they can bring him back. He's laid out. Serizawa's never seen him like this before. Nobody has seen him like this before. Then Serizawa believes that if they take a direct nuclear shot to Godzilla, it might boost him. It might power him up. Now, we know in the trailer, and everybody has deduced from the trailer, that Serizawa climbs upstairs and this decides to get blown up. So we have to find a reason as to why he would do this. I can't think of anything other than when they go to shoot the nuke at Godzilla, it's malfunctioned. Oh no, somebody needs to deliver the nuke right to Godzilla's grill piece, and it can only be detonated manually, just like in Armageddon when the button didn't work and Bruce Willis had to detonate it manually. He has to detonate it manually, and Serizawa, being the older person there, decides, my life is done. I have nothing more to prove, and I'm going to go and make the sacrifice for the betterment of humanity. And he climbs the stairs, and he's got the little bomb or whatever, and he goes and rolls right up on Godzilla, and he puts the bomb down, and he looks at Godzilla, and he's like, I'm gonna bring you back, I'm sure he says something very sentimental. Who knows what it is, but we know he's there. We know the bomb explodes, and Godzilla starts flashing red. We don't see this in the trailer, but I'm hoping, because I said that I think he'll turn I think he'll do the Godzilla red stuff in this movie. I'm not going to say burning Godzilla because I don't think he's going to melt. But I do think he's going to have the spiral red beam in this movie. So we get a hint that might happen as he flashes red. And now he's back. And now he starts making his way north as well. And all these monsters are making their way north. And they all converge for a pit stop at Washington, D.C. Because, of course, let's destroy D.C. Trump is president. We gotta destroy D.C. So we see that Godzilla gets there a little too late. D.C.'s already wrecked. Ghidorah has been trying to chase Rodan. Rodan is too fast. And we all know that Ghidorah is just a flying hurricane of Category 7 proportions or whatever. And he just wrecks, DC, and so does Rodan, and Mothra is also flying there, and as she's flying, she's literally pushing the light into the darkness of Ghidorah, and wherever she goes, she just dispatches of Ghidorah's darkness. She's just angelic like that. I want the yellow beam. I just caught that. And Godzilla comes inland, and you can tell he's coming inland because there's a big surge of water coming to Washington. But Ghidorah is now suddenly just been distracted. Oh no, somebody's using that device at Fenway Park, and I gotta go there. I gotta go there right now. So Ghidorah starts heading north, and Madison is we shoot down to Boston where Madison is there, and she told her father she had the device, and he told her to go somewhere where it's maybe wide open, where maybe she can if the monsters come, they'll be somewhere where it's wide open. A baseball field is fairly wide open, even though if you've been to Fenway's like a shoebox for Gulliver's Travels. It's a big stadium, but it's not that big in comparison to other stadiums. But who cares? We want to get these monsters in an open field. We want to try and collect them in an open field, whatever. That's my theory as to why she's there. But she also has the device, so obviously you don't want to bring that home. So she's there, and she's at the top of Fenway, and she's waiting for Dad. Dad, where are you? I'm here. I'm almost there, honey. Stay put. I'll be right there. Oh no, Dad, there's an incoming storm. I think it's that giant 3-headed monster. I gotta get away. And then that's when we see her looking at the wind, looking at the flags, and here comes all the clouds and the lightning. Oh my God, thunder, lightning. And she goes and she hides in the building, and she's hiding, and she's hiding. And then suddenly, all these beams start shooting through the building, and she's running with the goddamn, space gem that's glowing blue in the damn trailer. And she's running, and we see all the pictures of Fenway, and Fenway's getting blasted. And finally, she starts to, and we hear Ghidorah just walking around in the stadium looking, where's that? Where's that space gem? Or where's that damn device that's driving me up a wall? And then she makes a desperate call to her mother to find out how to use this thing. And her mother is, she says something that triggers Madison. And Madison's like, you're a monster. And then she's like, honey, I swear to God, I'll help you. I'll save you. And as we see this, we know that now we notice that the terrorists are already there. Now they know where Madison is. And she's kind of like slowly, talking to her daughter while the terrorists trying to get into the building in one direction. We got Ghidorah on the main field trying to look for Madison. And that's that scene where we see where she's kind of turning around slowly. And there's Ghidorah. And then her father finally gets there. And her father sees that the inside of the field is wrecked because Ghidorah's there. And, yes. So then her mother's trying to tell her how to use the device. But then the terrorist leader, Charles Dance, tells her, don't tell her how to use that. I want to keep these monsters, blah, 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 blah. And then they get cut off from the call, and she continues to run. Next thing you know, you hear, Rodan's flying in, and then we hear, Mothra flying in, and they start wrecking each other in the middle of the diamond, right on top of the baseball field. You got circling Mothra and circling Rodan over Ghidorah. Ghidorah shooting his lightning beams, and there's a big fight going on. Motherfucking don't know. I need a Rob Rosado cut of this movie. It's probably completely off, but that's okay. We're having fun with it. So they're fighting, they're circling, and Ghidorah takes out Rodan. Rodan crash lands to the floor. And then Mothra comes in and tries to blind Ghidorah, but Ghidorah's not having it. He's like, I got my shades, motherfucker. I got my shades. And Ghidorah blasts Mothra out of the air. Godzilla's still fucking coming. That big, slow motherfucker. So... So as this is happening, all the lights are coming down. And motherfucking dono. Dia Too Ill. Thank you for the $15 dono. I love this channel. I can't wait for this movie. Thanks for sharing. Anytime, bro. Anytime. Thank you for the donation. So during this time, now everybody's realizing that Ghidorah is like the ultimate monster. How can we defeat this thing? No matter where he goes, he causes destruction. We just had two monsters engage him and they got wrecked. Godzilla is too slow. He's not here yet, but he's our only hope. He's our only hope. General, what do? Take all our Air Force from everywhere around the country and have them meet up and follow Godzilla into battle. At this point, Vera Farmiga's character, Emma, has to make a decision. Do you choose your daughter or do you choose the kaiju? Now, this is a part that I had trouble with because when I was thinking about it, I'm like, she's definitely like kaiju friendly. She's all about the kaiju. And I think at this point, she's starting to realize that she might have made a mistake. And she's not going to... Now, remember, she's been with her daughter the whole time. She's been with her daughter throughout the whole movie. So there's no way she's going to give up her daughter for the kaiju, I don't think, in my opinion. So, finally, Godzilla makes landfall. He makes it. He makes it to Fenway. And he sees, Rodan's down. Well, that's good. I don't have to worry about him. And then he looks and he's like, there goes Mothra, my homie. Damn, girl, And here come the jets. And it's dark. And he's glowing and all this. And here's Ghidorah like, finally, I can finish you off. And they get into their little fight. And well, not a little fight. It's going to be a big motherfucking fight. But they're out of the stadium at this point. At which point, that's the scene where we see Madison smiling because she's like, Godzilla's here, motherfucker. I'm good. So Madison is on the field. And finally, Mark Russell finds her, gets her out of danger. The device doesn't play much of a role anymore, so Madison leaves it behind. The terrorists found that they got the device. But at this point, Mark just cares about getting his daughter into safety. He doesn't want her having the device because he knows the device will just lead the monsters to her. So he makes her leave it behind. He takes her out of Fenway, and they watch as the fight ensues between Ghidorah and Godzilla. And finally, this battle starts turning for the worse for Godzilla as he's down. He's getting his ass beat. And finally, it looks like Godzilla has been defeated. In which we turn to Charles Dance and he says, "Long live the king," in reference to Ghidorah. And as he turns away, Emma Russell looks down at the device which they finally retrieved. And she decides, to change the pitch on the device, which somehow starts wrecking Ghidorah's head, kind of like in Monster Zero when they change the frequency and all the monsters are going crazy, like, eh. So, but this only affects Ghidorah because he has a higher frequency than some of the other monsters, and she pitches this high, and now this gives Godzilla the opportunity for the epic comeback, and Godzilla starts glowing red, and here comes the red beam. Boom, there goes the center head. Just like in Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, the center head is gone. The center head is gone. We're in Fenway Park. The center head is gone. And Godzilla gets up and he blows another blast out of his fucking mouth that just rips a hole in Ghidorah's chest. Just rips a hole in Ghidorah's chest. And finally, leveraging the trailer leak, okay, he does not eat Ghidorah, but he instead starts biting and pulling away at parts of Ghidorah because he's so fucking big. The only way to make sure he dies is to make sure you start ripping parts of his body off. Maybe that's what the motherfucker meant. Maybe that's what the motherfucker meant. So he starts ripping his body off, and at this point all the jets come in and they start firing their missiles. Blah 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 blah, boom 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 boom, and finally Ghidorah is down. Ghidorah is down. My God, Ghidorah is down. And the battle finally comes to an end as Emma Russell tries to do the cliche evil character turn good, I want to redeem myself move. And then finally, as this happens, we see Godzilla looking up in the sky. And I know I skipped some other parts like the call to arms, but I'm going to get to that in this whole discussion. But he looks to the sky in exhaustion. And as he looks to the sky, we hear a narration from Dr. Serizawa about monsters and nature. And as we hear this narration, we see all these other monsters across the world as they start surfacing and they start heading all in the same direction. And these monsters are not recognizable. I just want to let you guys know I didn't put the whole monsters in my version. But we see monsters that look recognizable in the sense that they're more Muto. And he talks about how all these monsters, motherfucking don't know. John Joseph Gray the Fourth, $4.99. Hey Rob, are we doing tonight? Go. How are we doing tonight? Go Godzilla. There goes Tokyo. Thanks for the dono, John. And during this narration, we see all the monsters coming up around the planet, and and how Godzilla seems to kind of be the king of the monsters now. And this was like the defeat of Ghidorah almost gave a sense of safety for these monsters to come back. We learned that Ghidorah is an alien monster, that he landed on Earth many, many years ago, and he was a destructor, and he almost put what we call now the Titans, he almost put them in extinction, and many monsters had to go, motherfucking don't know. Frankie Perez, thanks for everything, Rob, you bring to your channel and Facebook. Anytime, Frankie. Thank you, my friend, for the support and the donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, where was I? So, anyway, during this narration, like I say, you see all the monsters come up, and it's almost like there's that instinctual communication between monsters, and by the defeat of Ghidorah, sent the signal to all monsters that Ghidorah, motherfucking don't know, MLGO, Iris? Yes. No wildcard game for Yanks, and Fenway is destroyed. Oh man, will it even? I don't. Oh, it'll be baseball season by the time we're in May. Yeah, it'll be second month into the season. So they're good. I think they can fix it by September, right? Or by September, don't you think? I think so. So all these monsters come up, and it's almost like Ghidorah was an alien monster. They don't go into any more detail. If they were to reveal Ghidorah as a monster from space, I don't think they'll go too far beyond that. Because he's already been on Earth, and they've established he's been on Earth and all this and all that. So I don't think they'll go too crazy. This is just a guess. I still believe there's a good chance they're not gonna go alien, but let's just have some fun with it. You know what I'm saying? So, and he brought destruction when he came to Earth, and a lot of the Titans have become extinct because of him. And whatever was left, that's why they went into hiding. That's why monsters like Godzilla and all this went into hiding, so on and so forth. So anyway, what did I use from the? Well, I explained my version of the monster eating part. So I'm giving, because a lot of people started backtracking, or at least saying that he might have meant that Godzilla was kind of pulling at him or tugging at him. So I just made it that, to me, it makes sense that if a monster is that big, almost 200 feet bigger than you, and you want to make sure it's dead, and you're a monster like Godzilla, I don't think you'd be eating him, but I can see you pulling him apart, making sure limb by limb that this motherfucker is dead. All right, because just say, you won on a lucky battle. Now, in terms of the call to arms, I know I didn't put that part in. That's bad. I think the call to arms would be from Mothra. See, what I didn't do there is I didn't really establish the relationship that I think might happen between Mothra and Godzilla, but also outside of that, I wasn't really too sure how that would work, So I don't know. That's the part I just gotta kind of leave out, and I will wait till the movie comes out. What else did I leave out? So I think I covered everything I saw in the trailer. The Serizawa scene, which we all agree on, right? The Mothra scene in the beginning. Because remember, I did a lot of this based on the trailer, so there's still going to be elements of it that I'm going to miss. And then Fenway Park was very heavily in the last motherfucking don't know. John Joseph Gray IV. Hey, Rob, what are the chances we see Gamera soon? Oh, man, I don't know. Hopefully soon. He was supposed to have a movie like 3 years ago, and they never did it. So I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath. I know that. So the Mothra scene I got in. Serizawa scene got in. The Rodan coming out of the volcano and fighting the planes is in there. Ghidorah, Washington. Obviously the time sync wise, everything is mismatched. But what was I going to say? And then we got to what I think, in my best opinion, is the relationship development in terms of her relationship with her mom and possibly her dad. And I really do think, because some people think it's Vera Farmiga's character running through Fenway. I really do think it's Madison Russell. I don't think it's Emma Russell. And she obviously has the device, so I do think she just snatches that shit from her mom at some point. And then because of the fact that the monster, or even Ghidorah, is attracted to that device, I think that's why maybe her father says, meet me back home, meet me back in Boston. Don't go home, go to Fenway Park, try to lead this monster into an open area, blah, 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 where, and then leave the device there and try to get out of there or whatever. But that's the best I can do. That's the best I have. And then, of course, we have the end credit scene, right? So we always have to have an end credit scene. We had one in Kong vs. Skull Island, so I only think it's obvious we're going to have one in this movie too. I think the obvious choice is to go with a Kong Skull Island end credit scene. I don't know what. However, I'm going to throw a curveball, and I'm going to say a Kong Skull Island end credit scene is too obvious. It's too obvious. I think it'll be something else. Here's what I think. How about this? It'll be a Kong Skull Island end credit scene. However, if they plan to go further with the Monsterverse and they decide to use this end credit scene for another Monsterverse movie, then I think we won't get a Kong Skull Island. You know what I mean? We won't get a Kong Skull Island end credit scene. I think we'll get an end credit scene that indicates that the Monsterverse is going to go on. So let's say a certainty, Kong Skull Island. A fantasy, some other Toho monster end credit scene to let us know that there's another villain coming or another monster coming. And it also primarily indicates to us that the Monsterverse will not end after Kong vs. Godzilla. That's the fantasy, but the reality is a Kong vs. Godzilla end credit scene. So yeah, I mean, that's it. That's what I got, guys. I hope you liked it. I know it's not 100%. I just did the best I could.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content. Or you can click here to become an E.T.N. patron. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.